estimate the mean weight of the pupils using your table. So they've told us that our width is 5. So when they tell us, they give us the class, we are starting from 30 to 34. So 30 to 34 is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Those are 5.
Pardon on the question.
On the question? The question is, construct a frequency table with a class width of 5, starting from the class 30 to 34.
So, pardon.
But
Key. You are still not comfortable with the question? Are you okay with the question? Construct a frequency table with a class width of 5, starting from the class 30 to 34. Are we comfortable with that?
yes.
Then the second one, we are using our table that we are going to construct to estimate the mean weight of the pupils. So it is, use your table to estimate the mean weight of the pupils. Use your table to estimate the mean weight of the pupils. Use your table to estimate the mean weight of the pupils. So this is different from the other one because this time they want us to group our data. The last time we didn't group our data. We only wrote down how many times does 48 appear, how many times does 51 appear. So that was ungrouped data. So today we are finding the mean of grouped data. And they've told us that our width, okay, how big our class will be is a width of 5, okay? Our class width is 5. And they've given us where to start from. Normally, how do you know where to start from? You look at what is the smallest figure. So when I look at the figures we have here, the smallest seems to be 32. So if you said you're starting from 30 to 34, and I wanted you to know what is that, how many items are in 30 to 34? It is 30 because they are telling us from 30 to 34. So it is 32, 33, and 34. So those are 5 items. So if our class is 30 to 34, who can tell me what our next class will be? What will our next class be?
35 to 39.
39.
Very good, 35 to 39. And you must first look at what is your last figure so that you know how far you are going to go. So when I look at these figures, who can identify the biggest figure here?
59.
59, okay? Are we together?
62.
You have a 60? 62, very good. So that means our class, our last class must be able to accommodate the what? The 62. So the first one is 30 to 34, then you say 35 to 39. What would be the next class?
40 to
What would be the
44.
next class?
40 to 44.
Okay, very good. We have 30 to 34. Then we have
40 to
35 to 39. Then you have 40 to 44. Automatically, the next class will be 45
45 to 49.
49.
45
Then
to
you have
49.
50 to 54. And then 55 to
55 to 59.
59.
55
Then you
to
have 60
59.
to 64. So 60 to 64 will be your last class because the last digit is what? Is 62. Is that okay? So when we are drawing our table, you are going to have your class in your table. Class will be the first column. Then your next column will have tally. Okay, because you have to group these ones. From the class, you're going to write down these classes that we have. Okay, class will be the first column. Then after class, we are going to have tally, and we know how to use the tally. You're going to show me where 48 will be and work out your tally. From the tally, then you shall have frequency. Then from frequency, remember our mean is the summation of fx over the summation of f. So what do we take as our value of x when we have grouped our data? Okay, what is the value we take for x when our data is grouped? Okay, this is what we do. Come back to your class. Yes, please put up your hand when you have a question. Please put up your hand. Any question? I don't know who's asking the question.
No bar.
Are we okay? So we are drawing our table, okay? We are drawing the table. Remember, the first example we had our value of x in the table, then we had the frequency, and then we got fx. Do you remember that? Now, those items, we were picking a number, a particular number that 32, then you list it, 33, and so on. But these are very many numbers, and the list would be so lengthy. So what have we decided? Instead of taking a number, an individual number, we have decided to group our numbers. And the group has 5 items. So we are starting from 30 to 34. Okay? So when we are drawing our table, this time we are going to write down our class. Okay? We are writing down our class, okay? And then from the class, are we together, girls? And we are losing each other?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so I'm describing our table. Can I wrap this off because you already have it?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. So we want to see what our table will look like. Okay, so in our table, we are going to have the class. Okay, from the class, we are going to have our time because we have to do our. Then from the tally, we are going to have the frequency. I'm using F to represent frequency. Then we need X, okay? And then we shall work out Fx. Now I am saying, when I have 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, and so on, okay? Up to our last class. We are going to work out that time. That one we are comfortable. From the tally, you get the frequency. Who's not muted? We are disturbing our class. Who's not muted? Please mute. Listen to me. When you have a question, put up your hand. Okay? Sasha? Sasha, can you mute?
Natamali.
Mali.
Natamali mute.
Can you do that very fast? Okay. So from the tally, we are getting our frequency. Now, this time, our values are grouped. Okay. It is not like last time where I had only one digit and I would find out how many times that digit is appearing. So this time, whenever you group your data, how do you get the value of X? Come back to your class. If I started with 30 to 34, add the X will be the mid mark, the middle mark, okay? Is your X. The middle mark is your X, whenever we group our data. So if I'm moving from 30 to 34, what is the middle number between 30 and 34? You're going to add 30 to 34 and then divide by 2. So when you add 30 to 34, what do you get?
64.
30 plus 34.
64.
Then you divide by 2.
32.
Very good. So your value of X for the first class is going to be 32. So who can tell us what it will be for the next class? 35 to 39.
37.
What will our X be?
37.
Yes?
37.
Very good. Please put up your hand. You'll be more better organized. 35 to 39. Our value of X is going to be 37. Then you go to the next one. 40 to 44.
21.
42.
40 to 44, Rautha.
42.
Very good. Very good. So now, can we complete our table? Because it was only this column that we are not comfortable with because this time our data is grouped. Okay? So fill your table. We've already found out the classes we need. Work out the tally. Get your frequency. Fill your value of X. Then get Fx, which means this times that. Fill that table. And the mean of our data is going to be the summation of Fx over the summation of F. Can you do that? Let's give ourselves how many minutes? 5? 5 minutes. Yes, Clarissa? Clarissa?
Teacher, pardon on how we find the mid-mark.
Teacher.
The mean?
Mid-mark. Mid-mark.
The mid-mark. Middle number or middle mark. We go to the class you're starting with, whichever you're starting with. So we are starting with 30 to 34. Get your 30, add it to 34 and divide by 2. 30 plus 34 and then divide by 2. So when you add 30 to 34, you get 64. And then when you divide 64 by 2, you end up with 32.
32.
Okay, so you do the same for whatever, provided they've grouped your data and are asking you for what? For X. When your data is grouped and you're looking for X, please look at your classes, add the first value of the class to the last value of the class and divide by 2. So can we complete that number? We have 5 minutes.
Please mute. Please.
You guys, it's F30. Present.
You know what F means. The total summation of F would be the total number of pupils this time, and you are told that they are 30. Who's that who has refused to mute?
Rodney.
Who's that one who's not muting, guys?
Rodney.
Rodney, what is it? You're disrupting our class. Remember, we said when your number is not exact, let's give our answer to at least 2 decimal places. Okay? When your answer is not exact, give your answer to at least 2 decimal places.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
What's tally?
Hey, are you in our class for the first time? We did that the last time.
Yes, teacher.
You are coming for the first time?
Yes.
My dear. Okay. The tally, you're finding out how many times a certain figure is appearing. Okay. And we decided to group our figures in bundles of 5. So if I had figures, if I had 2 numbers, if I look at my question here, in between 30 and 34, in your table, you have a 33. So you do this, that is 1. Then another figure in that range is 32. You write 32 there. Then you have, I think they are the only 2, okay? So in your tally, you identify how many figures are in this range. Then finally, under frequency, what do you write? That in the range of 30 to 34, I have 2 figures. But how did you come to that? You first work out the tally, okay? Go to the next one, 35 to 39, I have 38. You show us that 38 is there. You have 37. Show us 37 is there. You have 35. You show us 35 is there. You go to the 4th column, there's another 35. You show us that you've seen it. Then after that 35, we have a 37. Now, instead of writing another bar here, we bundle. And whenever you see that bundle, you know that those are how many items? 5. So after that 37, we have another 35. And that is it. Those are the numbers between 35 and 39. So when you're working out your frequency, this is 5 plus 1, which gives you a 6. Is that okay?
Yes, teacher.
Have you understood it? Very good. So bundle in 5s. We are left with just about 2 minutes.
Teacher,
Yes, please. Mbabazi, is that Mbabazi Patience?
can you please? Yes.
Patience, is that you? Yes.
Yes,
Can you
it's
ask
me.
your question? Yes.
Can you please repeat that telling
Yes,
part?
I'm
Me,
waiting
I've
to
not.
listen to your question.
Can you please repeat the telling part? Me, I didn't understand.
Now, the word tally simply means how many times we have those figures, okay? In our first example, we had just random figures and you are finding out how many times is 35. So it is easier to identify instead of counting to see how many figures, how many times 35 is there. So what do? Come to the table. The problem is that I already rubbed off here. But if you look at the example we have, look at your table. We have numbers from 48. Do you see 48 in the first column? Do you see 48 in the first column?
Yes.
Patience?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the second number in that column is 53.
Yes.
You're going up to the last digit, which is 35. So those are 30 numbers. If we were just to write every figure on its own, those figures are too many, okay? So we decide to group our numbers. And we are grouping with a class width of 5. So they say start with 30 to 34 because the smallest digit is what? Is 32. I think it was 32. So when I want to find out how many figures are between 30 and 34, go to the table, okay? Our class started from 30 to 34 up to 60 to 64. So our first digit, 48, lies in which class? Which class is it, Mbabas? 48, where would you put it?
It's in the fourth
45 to
class.
Okay,
It's
45
in the
to?
fourth class.
Okay, so what do? To make work easy for you, you say I have a 45, 48. So you put it in this class, that there is a figure, I have a number in that class. Then you go to the next one, 53. Where will you put it in the next class? Then you put it there that I have a figure in the class 50 to 54. So what are you doing? You're tallying, you're bundling, okay? Then you go to the next one, it is 59. 59 will go in the next class, okay? Then you have 48. 48 will be in the class of 45 to 49. So you put another stick there to help you. So this is showing you that in this range so far, I have 2 figures. So you do that from the number 48 up to 35, okay? But whenever there are 5 of them, do 1, 2, 3, 4, bundle with the 5th. It makes work easy. Is that okay? Even it makes the counting easy. So this is just to help us count our figures. So we were bundling them up in 5s, and that is what we call tallying. Okay? Is it okay, Patience?
Okay. Yes, teacher, thank you.
So can you do that? That means you haven't yet started. How are you working it out? You hadn't yet started?
Yeah.
Okay, can you be a bit faster? We don't want to leave anyone behind. So try to be faster. The easiest way of bundling this is take a column. First column, put everything where it is supposed to be. Go to the second column. It makes work easy. Than to look out for the 30s and it would be more tedious that way. So look at every column and then group those ones. Put them in the appropriate group. Go to the next column. In no time, you'll see that you've already done the 6 columns. So do we have people that are through?
yes.
Yes,
Are we
teacher.
through? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so 30 to 34, what is our frequency? 30 to 34?
2.
2.
Okay, then the next one, 35 to 39. Okay, so you have a 2 here, you have a 6 here, 40 to 44.
4.
4.
You have 4, 45 to 49,
7.
50 to 54.
8.
I hear you.
8.
Some people are saying 8, others are saying 7. Can we find out? In the first column, you have 53 and 59. Those are 2. In the second column, you have 51 and 59. Those are 4. In the third column, you have a 52. Those are 5. In the fourth column, you have 52 and
Teacher, I've made a
54. Those
mistake.
are 7. Then, hey, are you sure
In the
about
first
that?
column, there's only 53. You don't have to count it.
Put up your hand if you have anything you are not agreeing with. Hey, I get you. I was bundling all of them together. So in the first column, it's only 53. In the second one, we have 51. In the third one, we have 52. In the fourth one, we have 52 and 54. Those are 5. In the fifth one, we have 54 and 53. Those are 7. And another 54. So there are 8 people. You have to be careful when you're tallying, because when you fail the tally, you will have failed everything. So there are 8. Then 55 to 59.
2.
What do we have?
2.
2.
And then 60 to 64, I think it is.
1.
Okay. Then please give us the total by writing summation of F just under this column. Write summation of F. Your total must give you 30. Okay. Now we already know our FX. So can you tell me your total summation of FX? What do you have? Summation of FX.
9,837.
You have 3,000.
Mute.
3,000.
375.
1,375.
75.
Yes.
Okay, so now what will the mean be?
45.83.
Of FX over the summation of F.
F.
So you have 1,375 and you divide that by 30. So what answer do you get? What did you get?
45.83.
You got 45.83?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now the last one we are going to do, we are widening our class width. This time, the class has been given to you and they give you the frequency, which means in our table, we don't need a tally. Yes, Amoni, Annette. Annette?
Teacher,
Yes, please.
why aren't we writing 35? I mean 30 to 35, 40 to 40, like that.
Okay, because in the question they say our class width, how big is the class supposed to be? We have how many items? 5. When they give you the width of the class, make sure when you are counting, you don't go beyond 5. If I had 30 to 35, okay, how many numbers are between 30 and 35? I have 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So how many figures will those be? There will be 6. But my width is supposed to be 5. Okay? So if it is 5, then I can't have 35. It will be 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That is why the class will be 32, 34. When you go to the next one, it will be 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Okay? When I go to 40, then that width has 6 items. Are we together? So every time they tell you group your data and they give you the range, Please make sure when you're counting your figures, you don't go beyond the range that they've given you, okay? So 30 to 34 would have 5 items. Is that okay? Yes, Crystal? Crystal?
And on the part of the FX, I was asking, how do we get FX, and then also the summation of F, and then summation FX out of
Okay,
summation
now,
of F.
this is a symbol to show you that you are adding, okay? When I want to show that I am getting a total, this is the symbol we use. That's a mathematical symbol, that's summation sign. So when I say summation of F, it means I'm adding up all those figures. So I wrote down what you gave me for the different classes. So when I say 2 plus 6, I get 8. 8 plus 4, I get 12. 12 plus 7, I get 19. 19 plus 8, I get 27. Plus 2, 28. Plus 1, that gives, plus 2 gives you 29. Plus 1, you get 30. That means that my total frequency, how many items are these? My items are how many? They are 30. You get it, eh? Is that okay, Crystal?
Yes. So then FX is,
Okay. Now
you
when
multiply
I say FX,
the
I mean multiply
frequency
F
and
X. Okay. It is easier than what we had before. Before we would say, how many times is 45 appearing? 2 times. Then you say 45 times 2. And then you do that for all the figures you have. But these are 30. Because there are very many, it would be tedious to do the addition like we did the first time. So we said, you can put it in a table. Find out how many figures, you get the frequency, and then get your X. When it is ungrouped data, my X will be that very number that I have. But when it is grouped data, my X will be the middle number, which is this plus that divided by 2. So my total here will be 2 times 32. Then you'll have 6 times 37. Then you have 4 times 42. Then 7 times 47. 8 times 52. 2 times 57. 1 times 62. Then you add those figures, and that will be your summation of Fx. Is that okay, Crystal? Is it okay?
yes, yes, it's okay.
Okay, I saw Lapobo's hand up. Lapobo.
It's okay because I got the explanation when you were explaining to Chris.
Okay. Okay. Crystal, is your hand still up? Crystal, do you still have another question? Okay. So I wanted to give you another example. This time, when they've not given us, when they've already given us the frequency, how do you go about the table? You go about, say, the example 3. So example 3, you have given the table below. Given the table below, find the mean. Given the table below, find the mean of the following data. Given the table below, find the mean of the following data. So we have the class and the frequency. So our class this time is 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and then 60 to 69. And the frequency is 3, 5, 6, 11, and 2. So you're given that as your table. So when they give you that as your data, they've already grouped it, okay? So there is no need for us to complete the table and include a tally because the frequency has already been given to us. Who can tell us what our class interval is? What is the width? 20 to 29. What is your width? They are 10. So you make sure they are 10. So you don't say 20 to 30, they will be 11. But 20 to 29, it will be 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. So if you mean, and we already know that our function of F. So to complete our table, you have class, frequency. So what will we have here? You can tell me, what will I have to complete the table? If I was to draw a frequency distribution table, what else would I have here to get the mean? Sumi.
X and fx.
So I'll simply get my X and my fx. Okay? Simply get your X and your fx. I need to see the total here, summation of F, and then to see the total here for summation of fx. Put it at the bottom. So because our data is already grouped, what is our X going to be? We have grouped data. What is X going to be?
24.5.
Who can give us X?
24.5.
24.5.
Very good. 24. 24.5. Okay. So that will be 20 plus 29. That gives you 49. And then you divide your 49 by 2, and you'll end up with 24.5. Then you work out your fx. So it will simply be 3 times 24.5, and you get the value here. Please don't round off. Write the figure as it is. Okay? So can you complete this table and give me the mean? Don't round off any figure. Give your answers as they are. Complete the table, give me the mean. Are we ready? Are we ready?
We are ready.
Okay. So what is your summation of fx? What is your summation of f, first of all? They never told you how many items you have, how many people there are. So what was your summation of F?
27.
27.
Okay, very good. All of us should end up with 27. If you have 27, then you are right. Then when you fill this, what is the summation of fx? Summation of fx. What do you end up with? Have you worked out your summation of fx? Put up your hand, please. Precious. 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 Raihana. I saw Raihana's hand up. Oh, who was an answer? Who was an answer, people?
1,886.5.
Sure. You have 1,886.
1,000.
Check again.
1,415.
What do you have?
1,241.5.
Very good. Please check again. Our total summation of fx. Let me put it up here. Summation of fx should be 1,241.5. Please check. 1,241.5. Please check that that is it. That means that you got a problem in your x. Can we go through x? What would be the next figure here? Second class, what is our x?
34.5.
34.5.
Do you realize that if this is 24.5 and this is 34.5, so automatically the next one will be
44.5.
44.5. And you don't even have to work that out. Then the next one will be
54.5.
And finally, you'll have
64.5.
64.5. Okay. So when you get used to it, you see that the pattern will be very clear. It will be easy to get. So now this times that, I think, to get a very high value, because you said what somebody said 1,800. That means you didn't get it right here or when you are doing the multiplication. Okay. So all of us should have 1,241.5. So our mean will be that figure divided by 27. And what do we get?
45.98.
Very good. Very good. Our mean should be 45.98. 45.98. Very good. So when we are working out mean, we found out that this is one of the formulae we can use, the summation of fx over the summation of f. Now, we could also use another formula, which I want us to discuss. Imagine we are using this. So after you're working for mean, can you say, using the above frequency table, using the above frequency table, we are now creating another question. Using the above frequency table, find the mean of your data. Find the mean of your data using a working mean of 44.5. Find the mean of your data using a working mean of 44.5. Find the mean of your data using a working mean of 44.5. So this time we are going to find out another method of finding mean. And this time they are telling us to use a working mean. So how do we go about that? Can we pay attention? So they've told us to use the table. I'm going to draw the table again. Our table has class and frequency. So we have our class. Our class was 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69. We were given the frequency, and the frequency was 3, 5, 6, 11, and 2. Okay, so we write our total frequency here. We got 27. Now, they've told us use a working mean. Now, whenever they tell us to use a working mean, we are no longer going to use the formula that we're used to, which is summation of fx over summation of a. Now we are going to use another formula. How do we do that? From the class frequency, we got our class mark, which is x. Okay, we had 24.5, 34.5, 44.5, 54.5, and then 64.5. Now, instead of writing fx, what do? We create a new column, which is represented by the letter D. And what does D mean? It will be our class mark minus that working mean. And the letter that represents working mean is a capital letter A. So if they tell you use a working mean to find the mean, we create another column, D. Okay? And what does D represent? It is our class mark minus the working mean they've given us. Sometimes they give it to you, other times you are allowed to choose your own. So we've been told use a working mean of 44.5. Now, after we get the working mean, then we shall get the column FD. Okay, which means this time I'm going to multiply the frequency with this other column I've created. So I have my first value of x is 24.5 minus 44.5. What would you get? 24.5 minus 44.5. What do you get?
20.
Negative
20.
Okay, now you can see that 24.5 is smaller than the working mean they told us to use. So definitely, if it is x minus a, then the value I get here will be a negative. Okay, so it will be, yes, Salma?
Teacher, here you've been moving in slow motion. Now, what is that dx and
You are so soft, I can't even hear you, Salma.
okay,
What are you
I'm
asking?
talking, but I was asking that here, my network, you are moving in slow motion, so I couldn't get you, but now it's fine. So I'm asking about the dx and a. Like, what are you doing?
I have put a bracket for you. I've put a bracket for you to show you how we are getting D. Our D, the new column we are creating, is our class mark minus A, and A is the working mean. So A here is your working mean, and they told us to use 44.5. Okay, so that is our A. After we create this column, then we get another column, which is D. Okay, so now we're on the first value here. It will be 24.5 minus 44.5. And what answer do we get here?
negative.
What answer do we get?
Negative 20.
Very good. It will be a negative what? 20. Okay. Then 34.5 minus 44.5. What do I get?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Okay. Then 44.5 minus 44.5. What do I get?
You see what we do?
Zero.
Then 54.5 minus 44.5. What do I get?
10.
And then 64.5 minus 44.5 will give
For the
me
people you have 120.
okay. Now, this is what you need to remember. When we are using working mean, the values, okay, in most of the cases, there will be a value whereby the working mean is the same as the mid-mark, which will give you what? A 0. For most of them, it's not the case always, but for most of them, you will always get a value whereby X is the same as A. So your answer here will be what? A 0. Now, above that 0, the values are always negative. Below that 0, the values are positive. And it's simple because the values of X above are smaller than your working mean. And the values down here are bigger than your working mean. So that is why these are negative and these are positive. Okay. So have you understood how we work out D? You simply get X, subtract the working mean. Now we go to FD. So you have 3 times negative 20, that will be negative 60. 5 times negative 10 will be a negative what? 50. 6 times 0 will give you a 0. 11 times 10 will give you 110. And then 2 times 20 will give you
40.
Then you add up your summation of FD. Okay? Now, add up the negatives. Whatever you get, subtract it from the positive values. So when I get negative 60 minus 50, that is negative 110, isn't it? Are we together?
Yes.
That's negative 110. Then when I come here, I already have 110. So this 110 will that.
Chelima, please mute.
This and that will cancel because they are the same. So what will I remain with? 40. That means when you add up here, your summation of FD will be what? 40. If you don't want to do it my way, add 110 plus 140, you get 150. Then this is what negative 110. So your 140, your 150 minus 110 will give you 40. Is that okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Then how do we get the mean after doing this? Okay. Now your mean will be your summation, will be your working mean, which will be represented with the letter A, and then we add the summation of FD over the summation of F. Now, what do we need to remember? We don't put everything under common denominator. First, get your summation of FD, divide it by your summation of F. Whatever you get is what you add to A. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
teacher.
So, can you get, so write down the formula. After filling our table, like we've done, then you tell me that the mean will be your A, which is our working mean. Sometimes they call it an assumed mean. A plus the summation of FD over the summation of F. So first work out this part, summation of FD over summation of F, then add it to your A, and let us see if our answers are the same. The one where we use summation of Fx over summation of F, and this one. Can you work it out and tell me what answers you get? Please don't round off. We round off at the end, okay? If we have to. We round off at the end. Victoria. Yes, Victoria.
You get 45.98.
You get 45.98, just like my previous answer?
Yes.
Very good. Yes, Raihana?
Yeah.
Who am I talking to? Raihana? Yes, somebody was asking. Raihana, your hand is up. Naigaga. Crystal.
The answer is just 45.98.
Very good. So you see that our answers are the same. Okay? Our answers are the same. So whichever method you use, your answers will be the same. But if the question says use working mean to give us the mean, please don't use summation of fx. Please don't use summation of fx over summation of f if there's particular that they want you to use a working mean. And don't include that table. Don't give me fx somewhere in this table when they want working mean. You'll be wasting time. Okay? But when they say calculate the mean, it is up to you to choose whatever method you want. Either the first one or the second one. Yes, Sarah. Sarah. Sarah, your hand was up.
Yes. I got my miss.
Oh, I haven't had that. Yes, Sarah, say that again, please. Sarah, we are waiting to hear from you.
I have understood.
Hey, you had a question, huh? But it's okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Raihana, you didn't speak the last time. Raihana. Raihana. Angel.
Teacher, I beg your pardon on. Teacher, I beg your pardon on how you.
How we do what?
Find the FD.
How we find that?
FD.
FD. FD simply multiply your F and the D. If you understood how we get D, simply get F multiplied by D. So in my first class, the frequency was 3, and the first value of D was -20. So 3 times -20 gives me -60. So we do the same, just like we're getting f of x, this time we have a new column, which is D. Is it okay? Is it okay, Angel? Abe, I see Abe. Is Abe, we have a girl called Abe. Why? Huh?
Yeah. Amida.
Yes, I see Abe Semialo asking a question. Is that a girl or a boy?
Pardon, where you go the D into X9, or is it plus A?
You can't see well, eh?
No, not that I can't see well. Like, I beg your pardon, I didn't understand that part.
I said this is another way of getting mean. The first method we used to work out the mean was using the summation of fx over the summation of f. You remember that one, eh? So when they tell us to use a working mean, that means I am not going to use this first formula. When they tell us that we are using a working mean, after writing your class and frequency and your class mark, instead of writing here fx, we create a new column, which we are calling D, okay? And how do we get this D? This D is going to be our class mark minus the working mean they give us, okay? That's why I put it in brackets, that D in brackets will be your class mark minus your working mean, okay? And then after creating that column, we create the last column, which will be FD. It will be this frequency times whatever I get in my column that has D. Is that okay? So when you look at the first one, our first class, the X was 24.5, and our working mean was 44.5. So what will D be? It is X minus A. We always start, even if A is bigger than the X, we don't do the reverse. It is always X minus A, not A minus X. So don't be worried that you have negatives. Our top values are negative. If there's a time when your class mark is the same as the assumed mean, when you subtract them, you'll have 0. So below the 0, your values will be positive, because the values below your working mean will be bigger than your working mean. So definitely it will be positive. Then the ones above 0 will always be a negative. This column D is the one you create, which is X minus A. And how do we use it? We get a new formula for getting our mean. It is our working mean plus summation of FD over summation of F. And I said, we don't put it under one denominator. So I don't expect you to say A plus summation of FD, and then you do this. This will be very wrong. Okay? We don't put it under common denominator, but what do we say? It is A plus summation of FD, and this is what we divide by summation of F. Are we together? The A must be alone. Then whatever you get from here is what you add to it. Sometimes the value could be a negative, other times it could be a positive. So like in our value of summation of FD over summation of F was a positive. So we simply add. Other times you'll find that it is a negative, then you'll do what? You'll subtract. Any other question?
It's the teacher, the A is always given in the question.
Please speak up.
The error is given.
In most cases, it is given, but sometimes it is not. So it is up to you. And where do we normally pick our A from this column? We normally pick it from here. Okay? But sometimes they might not give it to you and they say using your own working mean. Fine. So it is up to you to choose. And many times we choose the figures that are in the middle. Okay, so it is up to you. If they give it to you, well and good. If they don't, you can pick any figure from this column of X. Okay? Okay. Now, can we try one number and see if we've understood what we are up to? Okay. So the marks below. We are obtained by 50 candidates. The marks below were obtained by 50 candidates. The marks below were obtained by 50 candidates in a certain mock exam. The marks below were obtained by 50 candidates in a certain mock exam. So if there are 50, I'm going to give you 10 columns with 5 marks in them. 25, 40, 58, 60, 30, 39, 29, 90, 30, 29, 62, 19, 81, 56. 60, 65, 25, 50, 58, 72, 40, 30, 31, 50, 59, 59, 32, 45, 50. Okay. Then 40, 39, 56, 60, 50, 40, 43, 59, 20, and 62, 80, 40, 51, 40. Lastly, we have 70, 21, 51, 49, 70. So we have 50 marks. And then they say construct. Construct grouped. That means we are grouping our data. A grouped frequency table. Construct a grouped frequency table. With a class interval. With a class interval of 10 marks. With a class interval of 10 marks, starting with starting with 15 to 24. Starting with 15 to 24. That's part A. Part B. Using a working mean. Using a working mean of 59.5. Using a working mean of 59.5, calculate the mean mark. Using a working mean of 59.5, calculate the mean mark. Using a working mean of 59.5, calculate the mean mark. So this time our class interval is 10. Our class interval is 10. Our first class is 15 to 24. Our first class is 15 to 24. What would be the next class? If I start with 15 to 24, what would be the next class?
25 to 34.
Very good. 25 to 34. So make sure you don't say 25 to 35 because you have to make sure that the figures there are 10. So can you attempt this? Let us see if we can get it right.
Teacher, what's down after calculate?
Calculate the mean mark.
I think.
Calculate the mean mark. And you have just 4 minutes to the end of the lesson. So you'll do this. Calculate the mean mark. So when they tell you use a working mean, please don't have in your table anywhere f of fx. Fx won't work. It will be wasted effort. They don't even mark it at all because they've specified the method that you're supposed to use. So this time I want the mean, but we are using a working mean. Okay. Sometimes they call it an assumed mean. Any questions before we close? Now, in our next lesson, please come with the graph books because we are going to represent our data on the different, remember we said you can represent data on a graph, we can draw a bar graph, we can draw a pie chart. So we are going to represent our data on a bar graph and a histogram. And we need to have our graph books. So please, next time you come for the lesson, come with your graph book, come with a UCE book, okay? Is that okay, girls?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
Mariam. Somebody. Mariam.
For class,
Yes, Mariam.
like hour for class. Hour for class. I
You're
don't know, like
wrong.
we have class, like we started from, yes,
Uh-huh.
we started from 15 to 24.
Yes, yes.
Now, which class are we stopping on?
No, no, no. How do you know how far you go? Look at your figures. What is the last one? What is the last figure you see here?
90.
What is your highest figure here?
90.
90. So you must accommodate the 90. Okay? So your final class must be able to accommodate 90. Okay? So as you write 15 to 24, the next one will be 25 to 34 and so on. So your last class must be able to accommodate 90. So I want you to do that. Try and see what you'll get. Yes, Ketra.
Okay.
Ketra?
Question on the working mean.
Uh-huh. What exactly is your question?
Pardon, on the
formula, the working mean is an assumed mean. It is there are two ways of finding the mean of data. One, we use summation of f over summation of f. The second one is when they tell us to assume a certain mean and use it to work out the actual mean. So we call it a working mean.
I meant pardon,
yes?
on the working mean.
The one we are using.
Question.
We are using 59.5. 59 working mean is 59.5. Your working mean is 59.5. Is that okay? Is that okay? 59.5 is the mean we are using for this number. Ketra, have I answered you?
Teacher?
Have you asked your question?
So we are adding the tally in the table.
Yes.
Yes, isn't it? What I add the tally, I have to because I've been given random figures. But when they give you frequency, you don't need to write the tally because they've already tallied up and worked out the frequency. So every time they give you figures and they've not yet given you the frequency, please put down a tally. Is that okay? If they give you frequency, don't write the tally. When they don't give you frequency, work out the tally. Yes, Mariam. Mariam Chamba Day. Hello, I see Mariam's hand up.
Sister.
Yes.
So now to get our tally, we have, like in our first class, we have 15 to 24. Now we are going to look for the numbers from the math they have given us.
15 up to 24.
15 to 24.
Very good. Yes, Mariam, that's what you're going to do. What figures lie between 15 and 24? So you list them. In the first column, you don't have. In the second column, you don't have. You go on. In the third column, you have. In the fourth column, you don't have. In the fifth column, you don't have, and so on. Okay? Is that okay? Okay, I think we can end our lesson. It's exactly 1. So please have that number ready. Remember what I said, come with your graph books. And if you have the UCE book, please have 1. Okay? Next time, I'll just say, go to this UCE number book, get to this year so that I don't have to write. Is that okay?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, so next time we are coming with our UCE books. Okay, have a good afternoon.
Have a nice
day for teaching.
You're welcome. You're welcome.